To begin ordering requests, start from the main menu of ILLiad. On this screen, you will see 5 queues listed, including awaiting College of Music request processing, awaiting faculty request processing, awaiting distance learner request processing, and awaiting request processing. Awaiting request processing will include all other graduate and undergraduate students. Most of the requests will come through this queue. When you open an awaiting processing queue for the first time, or any time after an update, you may want to adjust the columns on the screen so that you can check each requester's status before proceeding. You should initially check this status to make sure that the request is in the appropriate queue. If it is not, use the route function to move the request to where it is supposed to be. Requests that appear outside of the main queue should be left alone unless directed by a supervisor. Awaiting faculty and awaiting request processing will be most common, while others will be less frequent. For article requests, double-click on a request to open and begin processing. Make sure that in addition to the journal title, the requester has included information on the volume, issue, year, page numbers, and the article title. If you feel there is insufficient information provided, click on Cancel Request and need additional information from the drop-down menu. From there, you can specify what information you need to complete the request. Then, make sure the Send Email box is checked and cancel the request. This will send your message back to the patron so they can make the necessary corrections and resubmit. Once you've made sure that all the information is correct, check to see that they provided an ISSN number. Consult Ulrich Serial Solutions by doing a title search to either compare or provide the correct ISSN number in the request. However, if the article you are processing does not have page numbers, or the citation says something like e-published ahead of publication, simply use the online ISSN instead. In order to allow the Rapid service to pick up the request, which will process it automatically, close out of the request after having provided an ISSN number. Some articles and chapters will not be able to be filled by Rapid, so they will return to the processing queue. When this happens, go to the OCLC tab and find the relevant entry. Then select the lower half of the Holdings button. You will have a choice of all, state, or regional, but for the article request, it is best to select all. Next comes the Holdings page, which lists all the institutions that own the title you're searching for, as well as which volumes they own. Each institution is represented by their own individual 3-letter code, which is known as its OCLC symbol. Moving your cursor over a symbol will allow you to see the name of the institution at the bottom of the screen. The symbols also include how many days it may take to process the request. Click on these symbols to add them to the selected lenders box. Make sure to choose 5 lenders and create a work form. There is a strategy for selecting which lenders will provide the best article scans for requests that Rapid cannot fill. Try to select lenders that are large universities. They are better suited to make good scans and can get them to us in a shorter amount of time. Avoid smaller schools or public libraries as their technology and resources are often limited. Once you've clicked the Create Work Form button, it will replace your title information with the OCLC information. If there is any specific information from the original request, it will have to be added back at this point. Also be careful to check your note field. There may be information there that was not included in the original request. The work form page is your last chance to review the request before sending it on to potential lenders, so make sure to check for these things at this stage of the process. Once the request is ready to go, click on the Send Request button in the upper right-hand corner of the form. This will bring us back to the original request with all the changes made by OCLC highlighted in yellow. From here, simply select the Request Sent button to finish the process. Processing loan requests is very similar to articles, except instead of focusing on an ISSN number, it is important to note the OCLC number. Although the patron sometimes includes this number in their request, it is best to double-check due to the potential of different numbers being assigned to the same books. You may also find your supply of lenders limited, also making this step crucial to a successful order. The best way to verify or obtain an OCLC number is through WorldCat. Sometimes a title will not easily yield results. In this case, route the request to the supervisor queue. However, a title search usually brings up a number of results, which may be narrowed down by selecting the appropriate format and year, which is located on the left of the screen. Open a record and verify you have the correct entry by clicking on Just This Edition and see if the list of lenders remain the same. Then, find the OCLC number and add or replace it on the request form. Closing out the request will send it to the Direct Request service in a similar manner that articles are sent to Rapid. If Direct Request does not pick it up, you can continue processing by going to the OCLC screen, just like with article processing. You will select the lenders, create the work form, and move it to Request Sent just as you would with articles. Again, make sure to always review the work form to check that no vital information was lost. As with articles, there are certain things to take under consideration when deciding which lenders to select. Unlike articles, it is beneficial to select lenders that are closer to us, particularly within the state. Use the library holdings in the WorldCat record to select these lenders, which are arranged by geographic distance and proximity to FSU. Materials ordered from the Library of Congress will be marked as in library use only. The New York Public Library must be the only library option in the queue. Only articles are to be ordered from the New York Public Library. The Jacksonville Public Library has to be the last in the lending string if they are being used as a lender. Do not order at all from. If they are the only lenders, route the request to the supervisor queue. Book requests that are solely available overseas must be routed to the supervisor queue with a note stating, "No American lenders." However, an article request may be sent for internationally if that is the only option. The British Library is the only international lender that you cannot order from. If they are the only lender, route it to the supervisor queue with a note saying, BRI only. Sometimes article requests get mixed in with loan requests. An indicator of this will typically include information like book chapters and page numbers in the notes field. Open these requests and change them to articles. The article information should already be in the request. Select No if it asks you to override any information. Then, route these items to awaiting document delivery stack searching. Once in the document delivery module, select Print Pull Slips to print out the requests. Match the slips with their articles and place the requests where they can be scanned. The reverse of this issue, where a loan is requested as an article, can be remedied in a similar fashion. These usually come in as requests that come in with an article title that is the same as the journal title and no page numbers specified. You can change it from article to loan and then select book as doc type. Then, just make sure to review the request to make sure all the information transferred properly. You must be careful before canceling an item. Requests from faculty patrons are never to be canceled. Canceling a request from a distance learner should also be handled with caution. Route these requests to the supervisor queue with a message explaining why you believe it cannot be filled. When you cancel a request, be clear about your reasoning. Include as much information as you can in the message to the patron, especially if the case is that you need more information to make the request viable. This is also helpful for your coworkers so that they may handle the follow-up in your absence. Some requests are more problematic than others, but there are also various ways we can deal with them. If you are having difficulty finding what the patron is requesting in general, you can look to the lower right of a request and inspect the citation information. Some patrons make requests without knowing that we already own the item they need. Any requests we receive for a thesis or dissertation should be checked in ProQuest. Many of these are already available, scanned and saved as PDFs. If the full text is available, cancel the request with the message available at university libraries and copy and paste the ProQuest URL in the notes field. If only the abstract is available, it can be ordered as usual. Frequently, requests come in for Dissertation Abstracts International, but what the patron really needs is the dissertation cited as the article title. In these cases, erase the journal title and change the request to a loan, selecting thesis as the doc type. It might also prove beneficial to check ProQuest to determine if the material is already available online. When processing a request for a book chapter, select the tab on the form that says OCLC, and a list of records should appear. Select the record that has the most holdings. This will bring up the record detail page, which compares your title to the OCLC bibliographic record. Make sure your request is a match. Then, find the ISSN number to copy and paste into the main request page. Once you close the request, it will be picked up by Rapid. On rare occasions, a request may be made for an item that is only available from a library that is a non-lender in OCLC. To request these items, we can fill out an ALA form for American libraries or an IFLA form for international libraries, which are located in the G Drive, in ILL Docs, then ILL Share, and then in ILL Forms. Save the form as a PDF in the IALA IFLA requests folder, and attach the form in an email to the lending library. If there are no lenders available at all, we may consider purchasing the item. In these instances, we can recommend the item to a subject specialist to be purchased by the libraries. Although staff may log into the OLIF ILL module through the icon, it may be necessary to specifically log in with the CIRC module when changes need to be made in a patron's record. You can log in this way by selecting the OLIF CIRC module, then the ILL module by clicking the globe icon, which is the same as the desktop icon, located in the lower right of the OLIF screen. Click on Go to start your search. Double-click the matching title, and the next screen should now show the holdings available for the title. It is very important to make sure that all of the information matches here, especially the author and year of publication. When you are certain of your selection, double-click the holding. Next, a dialog box will appear asking you to choose the request type. Select Borrowing Request and click OK. A smaller screen will appear, and it is here that you will add the patron information. Click on the ellipses at the end of the patron ID field. Then, do a search for the patron, last name first. Select the patron and their information will load into the request. For the level of service option, leave it as is at when convenient. Be sure to include any other information that would help the lender locate the item, as well as any other notes that would benefit the staff of the UBarrow department. For multi-volume requests, make sure to include the specific volume needed. Otherwise, the lender will just send the first volume. UBarrow prefers one request per title, so separate requests will have to be made for each volume the patron needs. If the request is for a book chapter, which you will see a note with the page numbers at the bottom of the request, put the page numbers in the Requested Pages field. For pickup location, select the delivery site the patron has chosen in their ILLiad profile. Use the calendar to select a date 4 months from the day of the request in the Need By Date field. Requested media must be set to Printed for Loans. Once you are sure all of your information is correct, click the Send button and the request will immediately go to the lending libraries you selected in the holding screen. If you are processing these requests from the uBorrow queue in ILLiad, first send an email to let the patron know that a uBorrow request has been made on their behalf. If the uBorrow message template is not yet available, please modify an existing template and change the subject line to uBorrow. Be sure to note the uBorrow request number in your email. Then add a note to the request saying, "Sent to uBorrow." You may see some books appear only as either electronic or online sources. These are not available through uBorrow. If you cannot find a print edition, route it back to the awaiting request processing with the appropriate notation. On occasion, while trying to load patron information into the ILL module, the module may not recognize the patron as having the necessary permissions. In these cases, you will receive an error message reading ILL unit not defined, or ILL staff is not allowed to register a request for this patron ID. In order to combat this, first look up the patron in the CIRC module as you normally would. Then, click on the Global Patron information in the menu on the left. Find the ILL unit field and change it to. If there are patrons with the same name, they can be distinguished in the patron list by looking at the current address or barcode number, both of which are available in the ILLiad patron information. Further compare by opening the record and check the email addresses. If an ILL user has reached the limit of requests, first look up the patron and then go to Global Patron Information. Change the ILL total limit to 0999 and the ILL active limit to 0100. Any other problems should be reported to the uBorrow website. Just click on Support, Problem Reporting, and then the uBorrow Help Desk. Explain the situation or error that has occurred.